Hello, 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 ladies. I am so excited to be with you recording this week's lesson. I'm your teacher. Yay! Anyway, I'm really excited about this lesson. Some of this is brand new material for me that I have just been creating really based upon the conversations we've been having in the school, and really digging in to see what is going to make the biggest difference for you around your relationship with food. Because, you know, I and all of the teachers in the school are just so committed to you having freedom with food and your bodies and everything that comes along with that. So let's dig right in, shall we? Okay, so I'm giving you 5 steps here. The title again is Love the Food That Loves You Back. So step 1, create your why. This is really, really important. This, in my opinion, may be among the biggest factors in you having success in being empowered with food. So for me, when I was first diagnosed with food intolerances years ago, I was told I wasn't allowed to eat gluten and dairy and soy. It was really, really hard for me to not eat those things because all I knew was that I loved them and I wanted them, and I was really pissed that I wasn't allowed to have them. And I hadn't yet developed the why for my life. Why am I here? What is uniquely special about me? What is my contribution on this planet? And it's just really been in the last couple years that I've developed this why for myself. So the why is, why are you here? Why are you alive? And what is the unique contribution that you have to make to this planet that only you can make, that nobody else can make? And from there, that is the foundation for why you eat healthy, because your body is a vehicle for your purpose, in my opinion. And on top of that, our bodies are just, our bodies are the mode by which we express our hearts, we express our spirits, and eating food that is in alignment with what your body is asking for, what really fuels it, that's how you win. So that's step 1, is to create your why. I have an article that I linked for you to go a little bit deeper in that if you need help with that. Step 2, and this is exciting, this is brand new for me, is creating a new context around food. So first, I'm going to give you some of the old thinking that we have around food and our bodies, and a lot of those limiting beliefs that keeps us stuck where we're at. So first, the old thinking. See if any of this sounds familiar to you. 1, I want to look different, so I deprive myself to get a body that I hope will make me feel better about myself. Or, if I'm really honest with myself, I don't believe that I deserve a beautiful body. I hate my body, and I hate myself for letting it look this way, and I think that I will feel better about myself if I can get skinny. Food is the enemy. I've been battling with it most of my life. I have no control around food. Even though I know many foods make me feel terrible, I want them anyway. I beat myself up every time I eat things that I know that I shouldn't. I eat to numb the pain, to fill the void, because I'm bored, I lack direction, purpose, and self-worth. I'm so confused about what to eat. There's so much conflicting information. Or I don't have the time or skills to eat the way that I know that I should. So I suspect that some of those, if not all of them, sound familiar to you. And I just wanted to distinguish those, as that's really the thinking that keeps you stuck where you're at. Now I'm going to give you the new mode of thinking. You ready for these? These are way better. I choose to love myself and my body just the way it is in this moment. Each time I choose to love my body, I move one step closer to having the body of my dreams. Ooh, I like that. I am worthy just because I'm alive. I deserve a body I love and that I feel really good in. I love my body and eat the foods that makes it happy. Food is a blessing. It can bring me pleasure, energy, and vitality, all at the same time. I ask my body what it wants and I give it to it. The more I partner with my food and my body, the clearer the signals become. I choose now to release 100% judgment of myself for my food choices, no matter what they are. I eat for fun, I eat for pleasure, I eat for nourishment, I eat when I'm hungry, and I stop when I'm not. Feeding my body is simple. I eat whole, minimally processed foods that my body can digest and absorb. I know that over time, I can retrain my taste buds and I can trust myself to eat the foods that my body wants and needs. I know that taking the time to plan, learn some new recipes and skills is among the best things I can do for my happiness and for my health. Did you guys like that? Those are way better, right? I like those much better. Okay, so now we're going on to step 3, preparing yourself. So I have several links for you down below. The first that I highly recommend picking up if you don't yet have it, a lot of you probably do, but it's my Paleogasm Starter's Guide. It's totally free, and it gives you a shopping list. Or not a shopping list, it gives you like how to stock your paleo pantry. It gives you, what else is in it? Oh, it gives you ideas for how to upgrade every meal of the day. It gives you how to layer and balance flavors like a 5-star chef. And it gives you the essential kitchen tools that you'll want to have, maybe not right away, but eventually to stock your kitchen. The next is a link for my cookbook, Paleogasm, if that's something that you would like, and not in if you're interested in getting that. There's lots of delicious paleo recipes in that. I also want to offer you a, I've already given you this offer, but the Paleo Cooking at Home system. That is a really awesome, powerful tool. It has 17 videos, it has meal plans, shopping lists, templates, and all of these supporting guides on how to batch cook. And the promise is that when you use this system, it'll be faster, cheaper, and easier than if you were to eat out. And so normally this is a $200 program, and I'm offering it to you guys for $47 if you're interested. I don't have a link up to it anymore because we're not charging that price for it, but if you do want it at that price, then just send me a message and I will send you a PayPal. Okay, so the next thing, this is super important. So we're talking about, again, preparing yourself for success. Get the junk out of your house. If you don't have junk in your house, you won't eat it. Plain and simple. If your family says they won't get rid of it, and you're really committed to making a change and they're not, then kindly request that they put it in a place where you cannot get to it. Because if you can get to the junk, there are going to be times, even when you don't want to eat it, that that it's going to be there. You're going to be having a moment, and you're not going to be happy that it's around. So yeah, what I really have to say about being successful with making a change to a really clean whole foods diet is really to set yourself up for success. That means decluttering your kitchen, really getting rid of all of the things in the kitchen that you're not using, trying to keep your countertops as clean as possible, getting off all the knickknacks and tchotchkes, and possibly getting a couple things that are going to really help you to cook meals faster. Things like a food processor, super helpful. Again, that's all of my equipment recommendations are in that Paleogasm Starter's Guide. I just can't stress this enough, that if you want to be successful, you need to have a plan. I know for myself, when I have good, healthy food in my fridge available, I eat it. And when I don't, I end up eating whatever is in the house, or I will go and get fast food or whatever. Not really. I don't really eat fast food, but like food that I wouldn't normally eat. And so none of us are, even me, I'm not immune to just eating whatever's around if I'm really hungry. You just want to really set yourself up so that you don't have to do that. And then there are, and I have some resources that are here to support you with that. So, so now I want to talk about, where to start. My very strong recommendation is to do some sort of a detox program. I highly recommend starting with something like a Whole30, and adding into that, if you want to add green juice into that in the mornings, and if you want to add a detox supplement, Thorne Metaclear is one that I really love. All of the links are below for this. So basically, the idea of a Whole30 is to get your body back to a neutral set point. And, most illness really begins in the digestive tract, sickness, all of that. And what happens when you eat foods that your body doesn't like is that over time your digestion becomes really compromised. And when that happens, your immune system begins to shut down. You're not able to absorb the nutrients in the foods that you are eating. You can get autoimmune disease. I mean, there are all kinds of things that come from having your digestion be impaired. It's what it is for most people, something that's called leaky gut. And that sounds really gross, right? Like science fiction. But basically what leaky gut is so imagine your stomach lining is a pantyhose. And a normal healthy stomach lining, it has little tiny holes, like pantyhose have little tiny holes. And so after, your food goes through the whole digestion process, and as that happens, then it the broken down food is able to be absorbed into your bloodstream, and then your blood then it takes it to the places in your body that it needs to go. And that's what happens in healthy digestion. But with most people, when your digestion is compromised, your stomach lining, it looked like a pantyhose, it starts to look like a fishnet stocking. So that means that you have these bigger holes actually in your stomach lining, and pieces of undigested or partially digested food is able to get through that lining, and then it goes into your bloodstream, and your immune system actually attacks it. And that is, when that happens over and over and over again, that's really what sets you up for autoimmune disease, for things like thyroid problems, for all kinds of like skin irritation, fatigue, depression. I mean, there's all kinds of things. On top of that, as I've been learning, this even happens in the brain, where when you eat things like gluten, that permeability in your brain, it begins to be a lot more permeable, and that is not good. You don't want things getting past that blood-brain barrier. That's very dangerous. So so it's really, really, really important. Also, if you think that you may have food intolerances, and most people do, I've heard some research that actually says that over 80% of people have some form of food intolerance, and for most of those people it is undiagnosed. And so it's really important that you get all of these invading foods out. So you may be asking, if you're not yet familiar with the paleo diet, what are those invading foods? So the things that we're focusing on getting out is grains, dairy, sugar, and beans, for the most part. And I'm not going to go too much into detail as to why. If you're interested in reading more about the why of eating paleo and the why of not eating grains, I will post a link below. But the book Paleo Solution by Rob Wolf, that's one of my favorites. But basically, grains and beans all have enzyme inhibitors on them, and it makes sense because in nature, the way that everything in nature, in order for it to continue to live, has to have it has to be able to reproduce, and it has to be able to prevent itself by being eaten by predators. And what grains do is grains build an inhibitor, a shell around themselves to keep. It's like a natural insecticide. So grains and beans have that in it. And so what happens in your body, essentially, when you eat beans and grains, you are getting nature's pesticide running all through your body. And that's one of the things that most people's bodies attacks, as we talked about earlier. So getting the grains and the beans out. If you are, if you really are committed to eating grains, grains and beans, and you think that those really do work for you, I highly highly recommend you only eat them if you sprout, soak, and ferment them first. Because what happens then is you're going to actually be removing that outer shell, and those carbs actually turn into, it actually converts into something that your body can more easily digest. I've actually been playing around a little bit myself with putting in some sprouted grains into my diet. I did some muscle testing and was told by somebody that for me that might be good. I don't want to go there with you guys yet, but if you are, if you are really committed to continuing to eat grains and you really like them and you feel like they're good for your body, I just highly recommend that you only do so if, if you're going to properly prepare them, okay? So the things to focus on for the Whole30. Healthy fats. So we have to just totally diminish and dismiss the idea that, that fat makes you fat, okay? If you take nothing else from this entire series or in this entire show, fat is not making you fat. You want to distinguish between the kinds of fat that you're eating and not eating. So the kind of fat that you want is saturated fat. Yes, I said saturated fat, and you want cholesterol. So the healthy fats to focus on: coconut oil, avocados, lard, or any kind of fat that comes from meat, extra virgin olive oil, and you don't want to heat that, and butter or ghee, and ghee is just a clarified butter. The fats that you want to be avoiding are the omega-6 fats. Those are all of the fats that are really derived from seeds and vegetables. So we're talking really most of the things that you're going to be getting at the supermarket. We're going to be getting rid of the safflower oil, the canola oil, the safflower oil, the vegetable oil, obviously the Crisco and everything hydrogenated, and anything that is liquid at room temperature. The exceptions are olive oil, avocado oil, and macadamia nut oil. It's a possibility there may be another one or two, but I can't think of them right now. And the oils that you want to actually cook with are going to be ghee over butter, because the butter can burn. You can cook with butter. Coconut oil and bacon fat. Those are the things that I cook with that can handle a higher heat. So the next component of the Whole30 journey is quality protein. Now this also may be a little bit surprising to you, but I'm going to recommend that you focus on eating red meat, and those are the ruminants, so grass-fed beef, lamb, bison, elk, and then wild or sustainably farmed fish. Now this is beginning to get a little bit sticky because as you guys know, there was a lot of nuclear waste that was spilled off the coast of Japan. I think it was almost 2 years ago now, but a lot of experts are saying to not eat any fish that comes from the Pacific Ocean because of the nuclear contamination. So that's what I've been doing. I actually have not been eating a whole lot of fish, and what I've been doing instead to be able to get those fats, even though I really do love fish, is I have this supplement that's made by Green Pastures, and it is a fermented cod liver and butter oil blend. I'll give you guys the link to that, but it is a really, really powerful supplement that has lots of vitamin D, E, K, really good. It has B vitamins, and it has really good quality omega fats in it. So I take that as a supplement every day. I'll give you guys a link to that. It tastes disgusting. I also get it in gel form instead of capsule form because it's easier to digest and it's more affordable. But I really love that, and that has been making a big difference for my body, for my skin, for my hormones, all of that. Obviously organic eggs, as long as you're not sensitive. Some people do have sensitivities to eggs, so you just really want to see for yourself if you feel good when you eat eggs, and the kinds of eggs you eat is really, really important. So you can eat some organic chicken and turkey, but I would limit that because they have a higher ratio of omega-6 fats than the omega-3s. If you're going to eat nuts, I recommend that they be soaked if possible. Again, to get rid of that enzyme inhibitor that I was talking about that makes them harder to digest. And then also you can eat some seeds. Obviously, you're going to want to be eating lots of fruits and vegetables. You want to eat a combination of raw and cooked. You know, depending on the season, it's coming. You know, it's getting colder. It's coming upon winter right now. So, especially if you're living in a colder climate, you're not going to want to probably be eating too many raw foods. You're going to want to be eating warmer, like more warming foods. But if you live in Southern California like me, you're going to, your body is probably going to crave a lot more raw food. So, but it is a good idea, I think, to eat a little bit of raw food with your cooked foods. So, yeah, that's sort of the basics of what to do with the Whole30. Again, it's a very clean paleo diet where you're going to be focusing on lots of veggies, some fruits. I love bone broth in addition to that. Some of you have heard my story about when I went paleo. I had already been, you know, a healthy chef and gluten and dairy free for some time, and about a year ago I went to my naturopathic doctor, and because I wasn't feeling very good. And pardon me, I have a hole in my lip. I think I just got water in the mic. Awesome. And I found out then that I was suffering from some adrenal fatigue, and my thyroid was off, and I was really freaked out. And at that time was when a friend of mine recommended that I try the paleo diet, and I read Rob Wolf's Paleo Solution book, and I just got super serious and committed almost overnight to trying the paleo diet because I was really worried about what was going on with my body. And seriously, you guys, within 4 days I was feeling like a totally different person. And I started making bone broth. And I think at the beginning I even took eggs out because my doctor was nervous about the eggs, so I wasn't eating. I took the eggs out. You know, some people are sensitive to them. And I was eating just a really clean diet with lots of veggies and fat and meat, and making homemade bone broth. There's also a recipe below, and I'm telling you guys, I felt like a different person in 4 days. The aches in my body started to go away, my fatigue went away, I started having more energy, I was able to stop drinking coffee, and that was what had me become a believer in eating paleo. It was just what a dramatic difference I was seeing for myself. So yeah, I think that, you know, whether you're going to, you know, necessarily, you may not want to be 100% paleo forever, but starting with something like the Whole30 is the best way that I know of to reset your body, you know, to begin to eliminate those sugar cravings, to balance out your blood sugar. And there, if you don't believe me, you can see online. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of testimonials of people who have healed so many chronic illnesses eating paleo. So I really recommend that you at least try it for 30 days and see how you feel. I have some other resources down here for some free recipes. It looks, you know, like simpler Whole30 type recipes. There's a couple links. So that's what I have to say about trying the Whole30. The next step is step 4? Step 4, step 5, step 4. Notice your patterns of overeating and eating when you're not hungry. So here's a couple places to look. What triggers binge eating for you? Is it stress and overwhelm? Is it sadness? Is it isolation? Is it when you have conflicts with other people? And what are the underlying conversations that you're having with yourself that are prompting you to eat when you're not hungry? I know for me, what my pattern typically is when I find myself eating these are the things that sort of trigger me binge eating, or, you know, just eating in a way that I know isn't healthy for me. It's when I'm stressed and overwhelmed and I'm not getting my other needs met. You know, I may be working like 14 hours a day, and thankfully I don't do that too much anymore, but, you know, overworking, maybe waking up in the morning and having some coffee and not eating for like 3 or 4 hours. I don't recommend that. And when I do that, that sets me up for the rest of the day of wanting to overeat. So that's happening less and less now that I've been eating paleo, and my blood sugar is much more normal than it was. But it used to be that I would go up and down and up and down, and when you're having a blood sugar crash, you're liable to eat whatever is there, and you're liable to just totally overindulge. So sorry, I'm sort of going all over the place, but we were saying, about the triggers. So so I also notice that that when I'm not getting my needs met, maybe it's, again, usually for me it stems from overwork, is that, you know, I'm not getting outside, I'm not exercising, if I'm not spending time with friends, if I'm not cultivating my spiritual practice, and I'm depleted, then I tend to turn to food as the one thing that is bringing me joy in that day. And I'll let myself like overindulge just to really to quench that need that hasn't been being met in the rest of my day. If there also, another really good place to look is if you're in a place where you're binging on something, and you know you're eating and you're watching yourself continue to eat. You may not be hungry, but you're eating anyway. There's probably some self-sabotaging behavior going on, and there are some limiting beliefs that are underneath that. So I invite you to really stop if you can stop in the middle